Welcome to another live episode of the Wisco Fanatics Show, where we discuss the Packers, Bucks, Brewers, Badgers football, and basketball from an optimistic perspective. Wisco Fanatics is brought to you by Cardboard Legacy, Wisconsin's most complete sports card shop. Buy, sell, grade, and consign all at their location in Oshkosh.
What is going on, everybody? It's Jake from Wisco Fanatics. I'm feeling better. I was out. I had the stomach flu this last weekend, so I wasn't able to join Tyler and Bryant when they did their edge and defensive line prospects. And I wanted to get my thoughts out there. I didn't want my work to go to waste. I watched the film and I break down players and I read articles just like Tyler, Bryant, and Simon do. And I wanted my hard work to be shown on camera to show you guys that I've been putting in the work just like everybody else. Dedicated just like Tyler is, and we're really trying to make this thing work and make this our lives, make this our dream, right? And with that being said, I just want to remind everybody that the Patreon is live. Today is the first day. That is not an April Fool's joke. That is real. $5 a month. We will be giving you guys a pregame show, do a watch party with you, and doing a postgame show. If you watched our game, we did the Bucks game versus the Oklahoma City Thunder, and we did a pregame show, did a postgame show, and we gave you guys a little preview. That was our first one, obviously, but gave you guys a little preview on what to expect from us. We have another one coming up. God, I believe. Let me check the date on this. I want to make sure. I believe it's the 14th or 24th, or it's the Brewers versus the Padres game. I believe it's the last game of that series, so stand by. Oh, neither of those dates. We were talking about the 14th versus the Orioles. That's why that number was in my head. It is actually, we are going to be doing the 15th, the first game of that series, actually, the Brewers and Padres. So we're going to be doing a pregame show for you guys to see how the baseball pregame show would go. We dress up. I wore a polo. Tyler got real crazy, man. He wore a sweater vest and a button down, and he was looking real dapper. And he was a great host as always. I'm just a sidekick, but I'm okay with that for now. But yeah, only $5 a month. You get early previews of some stuff that Tyler puts together, the graphics, and yeah, it's going towards a good cause. So without further ado, myself, I don't even know what Tyler and Brian started with. I'm going to start with my edge. I'm going to do my edge rushers first. Now, this is not going to take very long because I'm not going to go in depth on all these guys because Tyler and Brian covered a couple of them already, and Simon, covered some as well. So if you want to see what they covered, you can go back to Friday's episode. Tyler and Brian did a great job, and you can get their notes and their thoughts on those players. But at number one, I have Bama rusher Dallas Turner. Really, honestly, I could have went 1A, 1B with these top two guys because I think that they're both, equally good. I just kind of gave the Bama guy, and this might be silly to some people, I gave the Bama guy a leg up because he went to Bama. And they coach well there, they recruit well there, and they get the best players, and they churn out a lot of NFL talent out of Alabama. So I gave Dallas Turner the notch up, and I put him at number one. And number two, I put Chop Robinson from Penn State. I know that was Tyler's guy. Chop Robinson is an absolute stud. Just gonna leave it at that. He's a monster. Great hands, great quickness. He's going to be elite at the next level. At number three, I have Laiatu Latu out of UCLA. Again, a guy that just has a lethal first step, and he's gonna also be very good. Obviously, my top three are all gonna be some good players. Number four, I have Jared Verse, and he's kind of a controversial guy, but I had him at number four just because of his size and speed and skill combination is pretty rare. I know that every year you come out in the draft and you see these guys that are 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", and they're all 250 to 280, and they're running 4.4s, and it's just like, oh my God, how do they keep coming out with these guys? And then there's 3-4 every draft, but I'm telling you, it's wild to see. And he's another one of them. At number five, I have Darius Robinson out of Mizzou. a guy who's can play multiple positions, hand in the ground, or standing up on the edge. Just a really, really good, fundamentally sound player on top of being a very good athlete. At number 6, I have Chris Braswell, 6'3", 251. Again, good player. And number 7 is my first guy. That's where I have Bralen Trice. Bralen Trice, 6'4", 245. He ran a 4.7 40. And in 2022, he played 557 snaps. He had 13 tackles, 12 assists, 14 stops. Now the run defense isn't quite there, which is why he's a little bit lower on my list, but the pass rush stats are just absolutely filthy. 67 pressures, 44 hurries, 15 quarterback hits, and 8 sacks. That's in 2022. That's the first year that he really had some full playing time. Before, when he first came into college in 2019, he had the COVID year, then he kind of sat, and then 2022 he got onto the court, and obviously in the court, oh my God, because I've been watching basketball all day, I apologize. He got onto the field and he really produced. In 2023, this last season, he really churned out another season of amazing numbers. 797 snaps, 28 tackles, 13 assists, 23 stops, 70 pressures, 49 hurries, 15 quarterback hits again, and 6 sacks. So this guy, he just has great mobility for a guy his size. He really doesn't look like he's carrying 250 pounds when he moves, in my opinion. He does a good job at setting the edge, but he just doesn't continue to be physical at the point of attack in the run game. So that's something where I think that he could use a little bit of work on. He's impressive, in my opinion, when he turns speed into power, and he continuously does that, and that's how he beats tackles getting to the quarterback. He plays with a lot of power. He's just a very powerful guy. In my opinion, he'll likely just be a pass rush specialist when he first comes into the league. And if I could compare him to somebody on the Green Bay Packers that you could look forward to and think about when you look at this guy, I would say Kingsley Enagbare. Kingsley Enagbare came in his rookie year. He was really raw, but you could tell that he had the pass rush prowess, right? And that's what I think of Bralen Trice. A guy that really has the pass rush down, but needs work in the run game. This last season, he made some. I'm talking about Kingsley Enagbare. Made some really great gains in the run game. Where in the beginning of the season, when we were giving up big chunks in the outside, and I covered the run game, so I could tell you the outside runs were killing us early. The backside help was not there, and that was a lot of it was Gary and Enagbare on the left side. So Enagbare became a very good run-stopping linebacker at the end of the year. It really sucked that he got hurt. Hoping for a speedy recovery, obviously, because we're going to need him. But with him being out, I think Bralen Trice is a guy that you can add into the fold later in the draft, and he could pick up kind of where Enagbare left off and just be another guy you can add to the tool belt. Like they always say, you can never have too many pass rushers, right? So be a guy that you can just add to the tool belt and just make him a good run stopper. Now, how he fits into the 4-3 remains to be seen, obviously. Same thing with Enagbare, but Hafley just seems like a really smart guy, very, very, very intelligent person, very intelligent football mind. So I have no doubts that he'll be able to get these guys ready to go. At number 8, I have Marshawn Kneeland. That's my next guy. Marshawn Kneeland is just a really raw prospect, but there's a lot to like there. There's a lot of raw athleticism, power, speed that is just – there's just so much to like there. He's 6'3", 267 pounds, so he's got an NFL body already. He at 267 pounds, in my opinion, this is one of the reasons that, I really wanted to cover this guy, because I listened to the comments from Goot, and he talked about he liked bigger guys. And one thing that he doesn't want to do is get smaller, right? He doesn't want to be small. And Marshawn Kneeland at 267, he fits right into the bill of the Rashawn Garys, who's a pretty big guy. The Preston Smiths, that's the one that really sticks out in my mind is Preston's getting a little long in the tooth. We're going to need to replace his production at some point. But Marshawn Kneeland could be that guy. He's got really long arms. He's got a really, really high motor. And, that high motor kind of makes up for some of the lack of athleticism that he has. He doesn't really have a great burst off the line. but being a guy that just always gets after it really makes him a threat in coverage sacks, right? A guy that continuously just comes and goes and goes and goes and goes, and he just never stops till he gets to the quarterback. And, the Packers are going to be playing an attacking style defense with some man coverage. So if the quarterback gets flustered and you have a guy like Marshawn Kneeland who just has that motor, right, and is just continuously going, I think that, honestly, he would be a great late round steal, in my opinion. High motor makes him a threat on all downs. He does play with a pretty good base, and I like to call the guys that have the high motors, I like to call them the cleanup crew. The coverage sack guys are the cleanup crew. And he has a very good bull rush that he consistently uses to collapse the pocket from the outside, taking the tackle and kind of smushing that pocket. Kenny Clark, obviously, from the inside. Devontae Wyatt's got better. We got guys like TJ Slayton. Just a number of guys that continuously push the pocket and then flush them outside, and then they get chased down by Rashawn Garys and LVNs, right? So that's the world that we live in. Marshawn Kneeland is my number 8. At number 9. Jeez, slow down, Jake. At number 9, I have, excuse me, Adisa Isaac out of Penn State University. Just another good player, but maybe he got flashed a little bit because playing next to Chop Robinson takes a little bit of attention off you, in my opinion. Number 10, I have Jonah Ellis out of Utah. Number 11, I have Javon Solomon out of Temple, 6'1", 246. And number 12, I have Miles Cole, 6'6", 278, out of Texas Tech. He's an interesting one for me. I wanted to do I wanted to add a segment to our draft, and I wanted to pick, our favorites and our sleepers. And if I was picking a sleeper, Miles Cole would have been my sleeper with this edge group. Just a really, really interesting guy. I'm going to switch to my defensive line. So let me get there here. There's a lot of pages. So let me get there real quick. I'm going the wrong way here. Oops. Here we go. Yeah, I'm using about, I think I counted today. It was about 26 total pages so far for all my notes. Some of that is my sloppy handwriting and having to scribble some stuff out, but it is what it is, right? So my defensive line, my number 1 is my guy. I have Byron Murphy the second. 6 foot 297 and cat quickness for a guy that size. And it would be really hard for me to not say that he reminds me of Aaron Donald, and I think he's going in the first round of the Los Angeles Rams. That would be the least shocking draft pick of all time, in my opinion. Losing a guy who's called undersized with super quickness, replacing him with a guy at the same position who's called undersized with unlimited quickness. Byron Murphy, the second from Texas, super quick off the snap, does a great job getting into the gap using his quickness. He has a very, very good swim move and a club move. He does need some work in his bull rush, in my opinion. He stops his teams, his feet in some double teams, but that's coachable stuff, man. And the quickness is just jumps right off the tape at you, right? He did make the freak list. He was number 18. He runs up to 18 miles per hour. He front squats 455 pounds. He power cleaned 375 pounds. This guy's potential is unlimited. Yeah, it really, honestly, his versatility inside and out is really unmatched. He has a super high pressure rate. Doesn't really have the sack numbers, but man, he honestly could be a stud. And number 2, that's where I have Jerzon Newton from Illinois. I believe Bryant covered him. Number 3, also one of Bryant's guys, I believe. Chris Jenkins out of Michigan. I think that he's going to be a stud, in my opinion, as well. Well, I had to write this down, and I had to tell you guys this. But he does pull-ups with 100 pounds strapped to him. So he puts an additional 100 pounds on his 299-pound body, and he does pull-ups with that. I can't do a pull-up right now. I cannot do a pull-up with my body right now. And he just adds 100 pounds. He's just like, you know what? Hey, whatever, you know? He has a 7.163 cone, which is elite, would have been top 3 at the combine, a 4.33 shuttle, and a 9.8 broad jump, a 34-inch vertical. This guy's just a super athlete. Chris Jenkins is a mean SOB as well. I agree, Steve. He's a beast. At number 4, that's where I have Tyler's guy, T'Vondre Sweat. Absolutely. I said it on Friday. Absolutely the best run stopper in this draft. It's not even close. And he should be at 6'4", 366 pounds. And when I watched him, I didn't get to appreciate this guy for very long because I was a tiny child when he played for the Packers. But it was hard for me not to envision the Gravedigger if we drafted this guy, man. Now, I know that 93 is not available, but it would be hard for me to not give 93 to this guy. Just saying. At number 5, I have Tyler's other guy, Braden Fisk. I believe that is a little bit higher than Tyler had him as well, but his athleticism is amazing. It's outstanding for a guy his size. He should not be moving like that. So that's why I have him so high. I understand that he has some things to work on, you know, with his hands and, you know, that way, but just him as an athlete is a great foundation for him to just be a monster. Will Sweat come off the field in obvious passing downs? Well, I would say so, especially when you think about that's a great question, by the way, Steve. I had Hall 5 and Fisk 6. Okay, that's fair. But when you think about the Packers personnel, obviously they like Devontae Wyatt in passing downs, and you can't take Kenny Clark off the field in any down situation. So in classic NFL, now people want to talk about the 4-3, right? Because the Packers are switching to a 4-3. But what's the real base defense in the NFL nowadays? It's a 2-4-5. Any way you cut it, it's a 2-4-5. That's your base nickel. There's too many wide receivers on the field. You can't be playing 4-3. You'd just be silly to do that. Now in a 4-3 situation, if you wanted to throw him in there at D tackle right next to Kenny Clark and be like, hey, you pick one to double team, I mean, be my guest. I mean, that's just a great move for the Packers, in my opinion, to add a little bit of beef, a little bit more attitude up front. This team has lacked a mean streak, in my opinion, for a long time. He could, if you want another DB, but doesn't have to. I agree with that, Tyler. But you know, the real base defense in the NFL is a 2-4-5. So there's situations, in my opinion, where you can use him inside. If you want to try to free up LVN and you put him on the same side as LVN, so LVN can use his athleticism and maybe he sharpens his tools this offseason to get to the pass rusher or get to the quarterback as well. I mean, there's definitely situational football to that situation, but yeah, he probably comes off the field. Devontae Wyatt turned out a very good season last year, and quietly, not enough people are giving him his flowers. At number 6, that's where I have the funniest name in the D-line section, and that is Rook Ororo. Great name, but crazy stat about this guy is he has all this athleticism, but he didn't start playing football until his junior year of high school. I mean, that is just, you hear this stuff every couple of years, man, and it's always amazing. These guys that don't start playing till like their junior or senior year, and now they're NFL prospects. I mean, are you kidding me right now? It just makes you think, like, what if they would have started a little bit earlier, right? At number 7, this is my first guy. This is where I have Mason Smith out of LSU, 6'5", 306. And the first thing that you notice about this guy is he has some good feet. Lateral quickness is not a problem for him, in my opinion. He gets to the gaps. He has very good gap responsibility, and he's a run stuffer. He seems like a clutch player, in my opinion. It always seemed, and now the LSU defense was piss poor this last year, but it always seemed like if they needed a sack in certain situations, it seemed like Mason Smith was the guy to kind of get that sack for them, kind of get that big tackle up front if they needed one. And he's just a smart, high IQ player, in my opinion, in the run and pass game. He understands how to set up offensive linemen and counter moves. Now, he does get a little bit small in his base every once in a while, so he can get dominated in there, which is why he's a little bit lower on my list. But this is a pretty good defensive line draft, in my opinion. So having him number 7 is no disrespect to him. Also, the Packers are in need of a guy with 2 A's in his first name. So we've gotten rid of a few in the last couple of years, if you didn't know that. Tyler said he could if you want to. Okay, I read that already. Steve said Green Bay has selected a lot of Senior Bowl standouts. Sweat showed out in mobile. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. At number 8, that's where I have Mekhi Wingo. Number 9 is where I have Dwayne Carter. Number 10 is where I have Michael Hall Jr. I'm already getting anxiety about reading one of my names. Number 11 is McKinley Jackson. And I know that only one other person had him on his list, and it was Simon. So shout out to Simon for that. Out of Texas A&M. I just want to talk about him real quick. He's a risk-reward kind of guy, in my opinion. You could definitely tell that there's raw talent there, but he's also just such an unfinished product that it's like, God, it's worth a swing, in my opinion. It's one of those guys at the end of the draft, like if he's sitting there and you didn't get a guy early in the draft that you really thought that you were going to get, and you wanted to add some depth or just add a guy into the practice squad that you're like, hey, we're going to work on this guy for a year or two, I wouldn't be upset at this. He has really good work ethic, and he just really has raw attributes. He just has raw strength. You could tell it. He's as effective in the run game as it gets, and he does need some polish, but he just has a nonstop motor, and his problem is he stands up too tall every once in a while. But again, those are coachable things, in my opinion. So number 12, here it is. And I actually like this guy. When we went to, we were originally going to do 10. So when we went to 12, it forced me to watch a couple extra guys. And that's where I got to see him at McKinley Jackson. That's where I get to see this next guy, Justin Ebiogba, out of Alabama. Now, this guy, he's a savvy, versatile, instinctive edge rusher who did a little bit of everything, played with good leverage, even on the nose. So that's the key for me. This guy played from the nose to the D tackle to the defensive end to stand up outside linebacker position. This guy is a jack of all trades, defensive line prospect, and he really could fill out a team if you're looking for a guy that could just come in for 10, 15 snaps a game and just give you some good production. Well, Kenny Clark is on the sideline, getting a little bit of breather for 2 or 3 plays every quarter. So in my opinion, that'd be great for him. I know Tyler had Michael Hall, and he had some great notes on him. I actually like him too, man. He is young, and he's going to be a great 3-tech in the NFL. And you're talking about a 4-3 guy, great 3-tech. I mean, he would be tremendous. That would be a great draft pick. So I'm sure Tyler hit a home run on scouting him as well, but that's just my opinion on that. So want to say thank you for everybody who joined. We will be going live on Wednesday at 4 p.m. to cover the Milwaukee Brewers' first series against the New York Mets. Talk about the Milwaukee Bucks recent games. They got a game tomorrow night as well. Dame will not be playing again. The Milwaukee Brewers have opening day tomorrow. So we got a lot of things to look forward to. And then again, the Patreon is live, $5 a month. Go back and watch our first one that we did against the Oklahoma City Thunder. What's up, Simon? How you doing, bro? That we did against Oklahoma City Thunder. We gave you a pregame show. We watched the game with you. We do a postgame show, and we give you guys all the stats, man. That's one thing about people who love sports. Tyler and I, we used to watch SportsCenter a lot. We used to I don't know if Tyler's gonna hate me for this, but I'm just gonna tell a little story time. So when Tyler and I were in high school, there was a thing at our high school where there would be morning ball, right? And that was on Tuesdays and Fridays. Now, we wouldn't do it on Tuesdays as much until we got a little bit older. But on Fridays, we would pull all-nighters, playing video games all night. We would just talk and be best friends and talk sports and watch SportsCenter, right? And then we would go into our school at 5 o'clock in the morning and play ball, shower, rush to class. That was every Friday. We did that. And doing that kind of stuff together, we talked a lot of ideas, and we wondered why Wisconsin sports teams didn't get the love that the other teams, the big market teams, got on the Sports Center, right? And we wanted to create our own. And now we've kind of started to do that. So with the Patreon, we really will do that. And we're going to give you guys your own, when we were younger, it was Fox Sports. Now it's Bally Sports, and Bally Sports is doo-doo. I don't care. I'm going to say it out loud. Their app is absolute trash and garbage, and it freezes on you like 17,000 times every game, and it's really annoying. And we're going to give you guys a really good pregame show. We're going to give you all the stats, and we're going to watch the game with you, comment along with us. We'll talk to you. We'll tell you our thoughts. We'll listen to your thoughts. We'll celebrate with you. It'll be awesome. We did keep my dad up. There was some times. there was some times. Sorry, Pops. But it's just well worth it for Tyler and I to make this our lives, our careers, something that we've been talking about for a long time. As Tyler likes to call me, a grandpa and an old geezer now, as I'm in my 30s and I feel like I'm 60. But it's $5 a month, pregame show, postgame show. We'll watch the games with you. You guys get to vote on what games you want to see. Tyler and I will come together and give you a list of options. And then you get to see all the graphics early. So $5 a month on the Patreon. Would appreciate it. On top of that, we'll be live this Friday talking about our safeties and corners. The week after that Friday, we will be talking about linebackers and running backs. And then the week after that, we'll be doing some mock drafts, joined by Mike Spofford of the Green Bay Packers, Packers.com writer. He'll be joining us for that episode. And then we'll be live streaming the first 2 days in the NFL draft. The first round on Thursday, and then the second and third round. Did you hit up AARP as a sponsor? No, not yet. I'm not at the 65. I'm just at the 60 threshold. So I got a couple more years, Steve. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. We love doing this. Love the support. Would appreciate everybody to come over to the Patreon and join us over there so we can give you guys some good stuff and all the stats that you guys love. So with that being said, again, thank you for commenting along. I appreciate everybody, and have a blessed day.